Okay, guys, I'm going to give you my thoughts, my perspective of the 2 days Shannon Sharpe has been on Undisputed. Now, if you've been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain. Shannon Sharpe is now signed to ESPN, the worldwide leader of sports. And you already got content creators on social media pushing this narrative of, oh my God, Shannon's debut on Undisputed, the ratings were through the roof and they're crushing Undisputed. Skip Bayless' show is not going to survive for 2 months. They're going to cancel Skip Bayless' show. Oh, what Skip Bayless is going to do? Shut the fuck up. All right? ESPN has been lapping Fox Sports 1 since day one. All right? Now, let's travel down memory lane, shall we? Remember 7 years ago when they started Undisputed? Remember when Skip and Shannon started Undisputed? And do you remember all the content creators on social media, what they were saying? That Undisputed was supposed to be this first take killer. They're going to dethrone ESPN First Take. Stephen A. Smith is not going to have a job no more. This, that, and the third. Remember when people was calling Stephen A. Smith Stephen A. Snitch? Remember when people said that Stephen A. Smith was buck dancing and called him the C word and this, that, and the third? No one liked Stephen A. Smith. Remember how people were talking about how Stephen A. Smith did Max Kellerman wrong, did him dirty, and he's going to suffer in the ratings. People are going to stop watching First Take, and they're going to watch more of Undisputed. Do everyone remember all that crap that content creators were spewing, that the haters were spewing? Okay, where are all those haters and where are all those content creators 7 years ago? All right? So ESPN has more viewers, have more subscribers, that's in more markets than Fox Sports 1. Always have, always will be. Yes, people are cutting the cord from satellite and cable TV, and it's affecting ESPN. ESPN has lost a lot of subscribers because of that decision, all right? But guess what? Every other network that's on satellite and cable television is suffering the same fate as ESPN. It's just ESPN is losing more because they had the most to lose, all right? So this notion that, ESPN wasn't going to outpace Undisputed is laughable because they always been outpacing Undisputed with and without Shannon Sharpe. Now, I'm pretty sure the first two shows, Shannon Sharpe fans, came and checked it out. Skip Bayless' haters came and check out that show. It's going to be a little bit higher in the ratings because of that. But, at the end of the day, First Take is going to always outpace Undisputed. Always have, always will be. Undisputed is always going to be the second most popular show, even with and without Shannon Sharpe. But okay, let's just move on. All right. So the first day I talked about how Shannon Sharpe fared on the first day. I felt like he was nervous, and he should be nervous. All right. Everyone's nervous at their first job. I mean, at their new job. And he's also nervous at the fact that there's more eyeballs, there's more viewers watching him. All right. And there's a lot of things that Shannon Sharpe was able to do at First Take that he's not going to be able to do at ESPN. He's going to have to pivot. All right. He can't incorporate Uncle Shay Shay, the character on social media, and bring that character to ESPN because ESPN is not concerned about that character. They are paying Shannon Sharpe because of Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe has incredible range. He's a great interviewer. Go check him out on Club Shay Shay. He knows his X's and O's. He knows his sports knowledge. The man researches. I mean, ESPN is paying more for that and less of him having Black and Miles in his mouth and mixing drinks live on air and talking about the latest trends on TikTok. ESPN is not concerned about that. All right. So this is what they're paying Shannon Sharpe to do. And Shannon Sharpe can't incorporate that character to ESPN. He has to bring the other things that he brings, like him being a great interviewer and his X's and O's. Okay, so first day, he was fumbling his words. He was nervous. Second day, and I told you guys, sometimes people don't check out the war within the war, the battle within the battle. Some people don't understand the temperature has changed in the room. And I told you this on day one. And you can clearly tell on day one, lines were drawn in the sand. You know, Stephen A. Smith, first 5 minutes of the show, letting the viewership know that this is still his show. Basically, Shannon Sharpe is a guest of his show. Shannon Sharpe is not the co-host of the show. Lines were already drawn. Molly echoed the same sentiments, that this is their show, meaning Stephen A. Smith and Molly show. I think Molly, now I know a lot of people don't like Molly, but over the years, Molly has grown a repertoire as well as some cred to First Take. Okay, she is just important to First Take as everything else. Maybe not as important than Stephen A. Smith, but that's, another time for another story. And plus, Molly and Stephen A. have a relationship. Now, I'm talking about a working relationship. I don't know about what they do outside the studio. I know there's articles that saying that Stephen A. is messing with Molly. I don't know if all that stuff is true, but I do know that they have a great working relationship at ESPN First Take, and the chemistry is through the roof. Okay, they work in unison. Okay, so that day one show, they're drawing lines in the sand. All right, day two, Shannon Sharpe got a lot better, but I started seeing Shannon Sharpe utilize his old tactics. Okay, and people are going to say to me, what you mean old tactics? I don't get that. All right, the stuff that Shannon Sharpe did on Undisputed, and it kind of irritated Skip Bayless. The backhanded, the backdoor tactics that he was doing. He tried to utilize it on ESPN First Take. Now, he had he would always have a great relationship with whoever is the referee, the female that's going to referee, Skip and Shannon. He had a great relationship with Joy Taylor. Now, there is some talk that Joy Taylor left that show because she wanted, to speak more freely about the topics. And when you got Skip and Shannon, the air killers, there's not going to be a lot of time for you to say anything. So you got that dynamic, all right? And then I forgot the other chick's name. I just had her name in my head, and now I just lost it that fast, that quickly. When Joy Taylor left, Jenny Taft. No, is it Jenny Kraft? Okay, so you had that lady. It seems like Shannon Sharpe had a great relationship with her, and I remember this moment where Shannon Sharpe was letting everyone know that it's their show. It's Jenny as well as Shannon Sharpe's show. And they're like he was already playing these games, and telling the world that this is our show too. It's everyone thinks it's Skip's show, but it's our show. And then Skip Bayless went to upper management, and then next thing you know, that she's no longer on the show. All right. And I forgot the other girl that did the simulcast that last year of Shannon Sharpe. I forgot her name. I do apologize. She's not on the show no more. But people would always wonder, how come she never comes to the show live? And I think the reason behind that is Skip Bayless started wising up and going like, wait a minute. The moderators, Shannon Sharpe is getting very, very friendly with the moderators. I'm not saying that he's trying to flirt with them, but Shannon Sharpe, charm and charisma, sometimes the moderators will take up for Shannon Sharpe. All right. So, and you can also see there was a power struggle between Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. All right. Even though he's no longer on First Take, I think it's had more to do with money as well as the power control. But you can't give power, you can't take away power from Skip Bayless when you already gave it to him. So that's why it didn't work. It was more of a money thing. Well, I'm not going to go into that. I got videos about that. But anywho, nevertheless, you started seeing Shannon Sharpe import these tactics to ESPN. He started trying to get friendly with Molly, walking over there to her side and saying like, you know I was right and this, that, and the third, trying to get friendly with Molly. But the difference between Jenny and Joy Taylor, Molly was not budging. All right. Molly was still remained neutral, but she demonstrated her being neutral to Shannon Sharpe as well as Stephen A. Smith. But we all know that she's a Stephen A. Smith homer. So you start seeing Shannon Sharpe trying to utilize those same tactics that he did at Undisputed and try to import them to First Take, but it's not working. All right. Where, the moderator will be more on his side, where the engineer will be more on his side, where the research guy will be more on his side. Okay. As the years went on when he was over there at Undisputed, he had a great relationship with everyone in the studio, with all the moderators, with the research guy, with the guy that does the clips in the engine room, in the studio. He started building relationships with the others. All right. And at first, Skip Bayless wasn't paying attention, but as the years went on, Skip Bayless started noticing it. So he would, do tactics like, have a different moderator. And the last moderator would never be in the studio. So you have to pay attention to the tactics that people use at the workplace. All right. And Shannon Sharpe is trying to import those tactics at ESPN, but no one's not budging. Because at the end of the day, everyone has a lot of loyalty to Stephen A. Smith. All right. But nevertheless, other than that, I felt like Shannon Sharpe, Tuesday's show was a lot better than Monday's show. And the thing about him trying to cultivate relationships with everyone in the studio and Molly, I don't think it's going to work. And allow your brother to explain, because he's only there Mondays and Tuesdays. So the other 3 days of the week, okay, he doesn't have enough time to build those type of relationships, because those relationships take time, and it takes time at the workplace. But if you're not there at the workplace, how are you going to cultivate these relationships? Plus, the studio, the cameraman, Molly, all of them have loyalty to Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith has been nothing but loyal to them. All right. So I just don't see it working. I don't see that tactic working for Shannon Sharpe. So, and it goes back to what I was saying when the reports came out that ESPN hired him. And remember, I kept telling you guys, okay, so how this is going to work, because the only news we got out of it was ESPN signed Shannon Sharpe. He's going to be on First Take Mondays and Tuesdays, but they just left it at that. And I was wondering, okay, well, maybe he's going to be on First Take Mondays and Tuesdays, but he's going to have his own show on ESPN. It may come earlier than First Take, or it may come on the afternoon. Club Shay Shay could be on the ESPN podcast. You know, we might see Shannon Sharpe on ESPN radio. There's more opportunities that can happen by them landing Shannon Sharpe. But as it looks like, ESPN only got Shannon Sharpe Mondays and Tuesdays, and Shannon Sharpe imported Club Shay Shay to the Volume, the digital network that Colin Cowherd runs. He's also going to be doing exclusive content for the Volume, and that's pretty much it. And it makes you wonder what happened to the FanDuel deal. I mean, it was because at the closing mark, it was only two networks that were interested in Shannon Sharpe, ESPN and FanDuel. So what happened to why he didn't choose the FanDuel deal? Maybe it's not enough money. Maybe the viewership is, I don't know. What happened to Amazon? Because there was rumors that Amazon and Apple was in the room. Okay, so what happened to those deals? And it makes you wonder, maybe this was the only deal Shannon Sharpe had an opportunity to get back on television. It was ESPN. And I said, if the contract is only for him to do First Take Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's it, that's all you're going to give First Take, and you're only going to do it on the football season, so you're not even going to do it on the basketball season. When basketball starts, Shannon Sharpe is not going to be on First Take. To me, this deal is a step backwards from all the stuff that you and your agent was talking about. This is not an A-tier type of deal. This isn't a Stephen A. Smith deal. This isn't a Skip Bayless deal. This isn't a Pat McAfee deal. This is pretty much the same deal you could have had at Fox Sports 1. The only difference is you would have been on Undisputed 5 days a week versus being on ESPN 2 days a week. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, wait a minute. In retrospect, if the money is the same, he's only working 2 days versus 5 days. But if this was in any other line of work, okay, I can understand that argument. However, in sports entertainment, in sports media, okay, if you're not on there every day, you're not growing. All right. I love Colin Cowherd's Volume digital network and all that stuff. But look, that's in the building stages. All right. He's not competing with ESPN. He's not even competing with Fox Sports 1. All right. He's just growing something that has the possibility of getting big. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like Colin Cowherd came too late in the scene, because there's other people that have already already have these networks built. Like, they have podcasts as well as digital networks, as well as YouTube channels. I Am Athlete is growing and building. You got the Pivot podcast. It's growing and building. So these type of sports entertainment platforms, they're already there. It is what it is. They just inked a $30 million deal. All right. Now, I know Colin Cowherd makes a lot of his money off of Fox Sports 1, but he's growing something that has nothing to do with Fox Sports 1. And the talk of the town is, once his contract is up with Fox Sports 1, there have been talk that Colin Cowherd may go back to ESPN, but there have been talk that he's probably going to go independent. All right? So you got Marcellus Wiley. His channel is blowing up. You got Jason Whitlock. I know a lot of people hate Jason Whitlock. His stuff is blowing up. It just seems like Colin Cowherd is like late to the party. Okay? But yeah, that's all I got. I think he's going to flourish there at ESPN. But if this was what makes him happy, this is what makes him happy. But to me, if all you're doing at ESPN is only doing First Take Mondays and Tuesdays only on the football season, and then what you're going to do when basketball season starts, okay? Are you going to do more content for the volume? Are you going to do more shows on Club Shay Shay? Are you going to do live streams on Club Shay Shay? So there's a lot of stuff there that there's a lot of meat on that bone we don't even know, all right? So, but guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Deuces.